Does anyone here believe in reincarnation?
I had these horrible dreams.
Across the spectrum of society, from presidents and celebrities to everyday individuals of all ages, countless peculiar stories emerge, hinting at the possibility of reincarnation and the chance to experience life anew, perhaps multiple times.
I think I used to be somebody else.
Join us as we look at mysterious reincarnation stories that are true. Reincarnation. Reincarnation, the philosophical or theological belief that an individual's soul is reborn in a new body after death, has captivated humans for millennia. Reincarnation beliefs are widespread across cultures and faiths, most notably in Hinduism and Buddhism, where they are key tenets. From a philosophical standpoint, reincarnation implies a cyclical aspect of existence in which souls pass through multiple lifetimes, amassing experiences and acquiring lessons necessary for their spiritual advancement. This process is frequently linked to karma, the notion that an individual's acts in previous lives influence their current and future circumstances. In Hinduism, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth is known as samsara, and the ultimate objective is moksha, or emancipation from this circle. Similarly, Buddhism views reincarnation as a means for people to face the consequences of their deeds and achieve enlightenment. The concept of reincarnation questions the finality of death, arguing that life is an ongoing journey. This viewpoint raises problems concerning identity and the self. If one is reborn in a new body, what components of one's identity remain? Are memories and experiences stored, or do they exist as latent knowledge? These philosophical inquiries require a thorough examination of the nature of consciousness and the continuation of the self. While reincarnation is essentially a spiritual idea, some scholars have attempted to analyze situations of potential reincarnation using scientific methods. Psychologists such as Dr. Ian Stevenson, a well-known researcher in this field, conducted investigations on youngsters who claimed to recall previous incarnations. His research documented several remarkable cases, focused on young toddlers who demonstrated knowledge of people, places, and events they had no obvious method of understanding. Dr. Stevenson's research revealed numerous similar traits among children who reported past life memories. They frequently offered explicit details about former lives, had unique phobias or hobbies associated with those lives, and occasionally identified individuals from their past. Stevenson noted one prominent example involving a little kid in Vietnam who claimed to have been a World War II pilot. His comprehensive memories of his prior life, including names and events, were supported by historical sources. Despite strong anecdotes, distrust persists within the scientific community. Critics contend that such memories could be attributed to ordinary childhood phenomena such as imagination, suggestibility, or even parental and cultural narratives. Furthermore, the lack of empirical data supporting reincarnation as a physical process makes it challenging to accept within the scientific framework. While reincarnation is mostly based on spiritual beliefs, it raises deep problems about identity, memory, and the nature of the self. Popular cases such as Shanti Devi and Cameron Macaulay call into question traditional notions of life and death, eliciting both curiosity and skepticism. As scientific research continues to investigate these events, the debate over reincarnation remains alive and multifaceted, reflecting humanity's constant yearning to grasp the mysteries of existence and the possibility of life after death. Whether seen through the lens of theology, philosophy, or science, reincarnation is a fascinating subject that speaks to the human experience and the search for meaning. Moving along, we will now examine specific cases where reincarnation was the topic of choice. Joanna and Jacqueline Pollock. On May 7, 1957, an event unfolded in the medieval English market town of Hexham that was both strange and perplexing. Joanna Pollock, aged 11, and her younger sister Jacqueline, just 6 years old, were on their way to church, accompanied by a friend named Anthony Layden, when tragedy struck as they were struck by a car, leading to their untimely deaths. The sisters' deeply devout parents were, of course, heartbroken. On the fateful night of their passing, John Pollock experienced a profound vision of his daughters in heaven, fervently beseeching God for their return to the family. It seems that his prayers have indeed been answered. On October 4, 1958, Florence and John Pollock joyfully welcomed their twin daughters, Gillian and Jennifer, into the world just over a year after their first set of twins. John and Florence soon found themselves aware of strange happenings around them. In a fascinating twist, these babies, unlike many identical twins, bear their birthmarks in unique and distinct locations. Jennifer's mark rested on the left side of her waist, precisely where her late sister Jacqueline had once borne a similar one. Gillian bore a mark above her left eye, mirroring the scar that her late sister Joanna had carried from a childhood mishap. Florence observed her daughters engaged in play, as Gillian held Jennifer's head and softly murmured, "The blood's coming out of your eyes. That's where the automobile hit you." Their father later recounted that when he identified the bodies on that tragic day, Jacqueline's head was wrapped in bandages just above the eyes. Without a doubt, family members shared countless stories about their departed sisters with the girls. Yet the striking physical and behavioral resemblances, along with the girls' uncanny ability to find their way around the hometown of the deceased, raise intriguing questions. Barbro Karlin. A similarly eerie instance involves Barbro Karlin, a young girl from Sweden who began recalling memories of a past life before she even turned 3. She spoke of her true parents and her actual home, which featured a red roof. Her dreams were filled with men in uniforms, and she exhibited a strong aversion to showers, opting instead for baths. She was aware of her true name, a name that held no significance for her parents. Barbro claimed to be Anne Frank. At that time, early editions of the Diary of Anne Frank had just been released, making the story still quite obscure. During a visit to Amsterdam, Barbro guided her parents to the attic where the Frank family had sought refuge, recounting details that had faded with time. As she ascended the staircase to the hiding place, a wave of terror washed over her, memories flooding back of the day when uniformed men seized her, leading her to her fate in the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, a place where fear reigned as inmates were taken away for showers in the infamous extermination block. These narratives raise profound questions. Do they suggest that consciousness, memories, and perhaps even souls can depart one body at birth and inhabit another to experience life anew? John Pollock certainly thought so. The graves of his first daughters lay in neglect, overgrown and forgotten. He pondered the necessity of tending to them, questioning why he should invest care when his daughters thrived anew in different forms. Ian Stevenson, a psychiatrist of Canadian descent who made his mark in America, delved into numerous cases, including those of the Pollock sisters and Barbro Karlin. As the founder and director of the Division of Perceptual Studies at the University of Virginia School of Medicine, Stevenson, along with his successor Jim Tucker, meticulously examined over 2,500 instances of reincarnation from various corners of the globe, revealing strikingly similar experiences among them. Like the Pollock twins, those who are believed to be reborn often exhibit birthmarks that align with injuries from their past lives. In approximately 70% of the cases examined by the department, the individuals asserting their reincarnation experienced unnatural deaths, much like Anne Frank. Notable physical resemblances are often observed. The Pollocks' resemblance to their sisters is quite clear, yet it is striking for a girl born in Sweden, a Nordic nation known for its light hair and fair skin, to bear a likeness to a dark-haired girl of Jewish descent. Ryan Hammond. Additionally, there is Marty Martins, a dancer and film agent who found success but has since faded from memory. Almost 4 decades after his passing, Ryan Hammond, a 4-year-old boy from Oklahoma, started sharing recollections of a previous life in which he asserted he existed on the fringes of Hollywood's cinematic world. The man's house, his family, the celebrities he had encountered, the shows he had participated in, and his travels across Europe painted a vivid picture of his life. Ryan could recount every detail, including memories of Martin's death and rebirth, as well as a conversation he had overheard between Ryan's mother and father while she was still pregnant, a story that the parents later verified. The child's demeanor, actions, and emotions often mirrored those of someone far beyond their years. One day, Ryan caught sight of himself in a frame from the 1932 film Night After Night. Though merely an extra and uncredited, Jim Tucker, currently delving into Ryan's situation, assisted in recognizing him as Marty Martins. Tucker successfully authenticated around 50 comments made by Ryan regarding Martin's life, many of which would have posed a challenge for a young child to comprehend. Ryan Harmon's recollections, akin to those of Barbro Karlin and the Pollock twins, resist straightforward interpretation. Nevertheless, the evidence suggests that it is plausible to experience physical reincarnation without retaining memories of a past life or the existence of a prior soul. These photographs reveal that uncanny similarities between the living and the deceased occur more frequently than many might think. The prevalence of these parallels among celebrities can be attributed to their widely recognized appearances, making such resemblances easier to spot. Interestingly, few of these notable figures assert memories of past lives, indicating that while one may return in physical form, the spirit may not follow suit. Famous people remember past lives. It is not recorded that the Roman Empress Severus Alexander ever engaged in rhyme. Nevertheless, numerous celebrities assert that they have experienced past lives. Sylvester Stallone, for instance, insists he recalls 4 previous existences. In one instance, he took on the role of a soldier amid the chaos of the French Revolution, ultimately meeting his end at the guillotine. Sly vividly remembered the moment his skull was severed, the impact resonating as it hit the hoop below. Patrick Swayze shared that he and his wife, Lisa Naomi, held a belief that they had not only existed in a previous life, but had also been lovers in that time. This is not the only instance of individuals feeling they have encountered someone from a past life. Barbro Karlin experienced a contrasting situation with a colleague who instilled a sense of anxiety in her. This feeling was so profound that she came to believe he was the reincarnation of a concentration camp guard she had known during her time as Anne Frank. Lady Gaga holds the belief that she embodies the spirit of her late Aunt Joanne Germanotta, who passed away at the tender age of 19, long before Gaga's own arrival into the world. Though her death from lupus was not a violent one, the tragedy of such a young life lost feels profoundly unnatural. Gaga expresses that Joanne has infused her essence into her being. A spiritual vision came to her, urging her to complete her unfinished business. Though she never met her, she holds immense significance in her life. The notion that a soul may be reincarnated due to unresolved matters, that their earthly existence remains incomplete, is a belief shared by many. Kalpana Chawla. Some Eastern religions embrace it as a fundamental aspect of their beliefs. Thus, it is not surprising that numerous instances of perceived reincarnation arise in societies where the concept of rebirth is both celebrated and pursued. In February 1, 2003, the space shuttle Columbia met its tragic end in the skies above Texas as it attempted to re-enter Earth's atmosphere, leaving its 14-day mission incomplete. Kalpana Chawla, the first Indian woman to soar into the cosmos, was among the 7 astronauts who tragically lost their lives. A brilliant engineer, she once proclaimed during her earlier space mission, "You are only your intelligence." Some believe her intellect has been reborn in 2 distinct children, perhaps to fulfill her mission on her behalf. Sanurai Warasinghe entered the world as a child of humble beginnings in Sri Lanka. Even before his first day of primary school, he had already mastered Hindi and English. At just 5 years old, he possessed a remarkable understanding of science, particularly in the realms of astronomy and spaceflight, far surpassing that of his contemporaries. Family members recount his vivid memories of a skyward incident, flames, and a descent into a barren terrain. 1,800 miles away in northern India, a 4-year-old girl named Upasana Kumar ignited a wave of disbelief by asserting that she was Kalpana Chawla, a statement that held little significance for her parents, who were impoverished and uneducated laborers. Born merely 2 months after Chawla's passing, the girl astonishingly recounted her knowledge of Kalpana's father's name and the names of several of her teachers. Upasana also narrated experiences of perishing in an aviation accident and expressed a deep-seated fear at the mere sight of an airplane. Is it possible for a single soul to experience rebirth as 2 distinct individuals? Intriguingly, the answer might be affirmative. Carl Jung, a prominent psychologist, proposed the idea that certain experiences could be universally shared, a concept he termed the collective unconscious. It raises the question, Could some of the memories people recount be these shared experiences? Quantum mechanics. Some scientists propose that the enigmatic realm of quantum mechanics might offer insights into the concept of reincarnation. At the subatomic level, the nature of reality diverges greatly from our everyday perceptions, suggesting that consciousness may exist apart from our individual selves. Within this framework of quantum consciousness, memories and even souls could potentially exist independently, able to inhabit a new body, acquire fresh experiences and memories, and subsequently transition onward. It is possible that they remain incomplete, as certain faiths suggest. Perhaps Buddha's insights were accurate from the beginning. Yet the principles of quantum mechanics and quantum consciousness might explain a type of reincarnation that is not only less comprehended, but also carries greater risks. The doppelganger. In everyday life, the term doppelganger often refers to two individuals who appear strikingly alike. Perhaps, as previously mentioned, it signifies a mere physical resemblance devoid of memories or any sign of a soul. In its simplest essence, a doppelganger, translating to double walker, represents an identical counterpart, and encountering your own doppelganger can lead to dire consequences. Throughout history, many notable figures have reported sightings and interactions with alternate versions of themselves. Notably, journalist Noah Brooks recounted an evening when Abraham Lincoln, while in the White House, beheld two reflections of himself in a mirror. It was not merely a double reflection. One image appeared whiter and unhealthier than the other. This similar vision visited him on several more occasions. On the last instance, his wife witnessed it too, and in Lincoln's words, she interpreted it as a sign that he would be elected to a second term, while the paleness of one of the faces served as an omen that he would not survive to see the end of that term. Brooks notes that Mary Todd Lincoln confirmed the account, which turned out to be true. Both Elizabeth I of England and Catherine the Great of Russia claimed to have experienced double vision. Elizabeth discovered herself resting in her bed. In Catherine's case, she entered the state throne room, commanding the guards to open fire on the doppelganger, yet it had no effect. Both kings perished shortly after the meeting. At times, a doppelganger may intentionally seek to harm their counterpart or a loved one. In 2015, a mother recounted a moment from a day at the beach with her two daughters. As a storm loomed on the horizon, the girls made their way home, leaving their mother to wander a little longer. Suddenly, as the waves grew more tumultuous, she spotted a figure in the water, desperately calling for help. To her astonishment, she identified the figure as her own 4-year-old daughter. The child cried out and gestured to her mother, trying to pull her into the turbulent waters, even though any attempt to save her would almost certainly lead to the woman's demise. Although she was convinced that her actual daughter was safe at home, she struggled against her instinct to leap into the surf, ultimately choosing to turn away and run as swiftly as possible. Arriving with fear and distress, she found her true daughter, unharmed and patiently waiting for her. The presence of mother-daughter doppelgangers evokes a unique sense of horror, perhaps stemming from a deeper emotional bond. In one of the most chilling moments, a young girl shared a vision she experienced in her sleep and sought comfort in her mother's bed. She beheld two manifestations of her mother, one hovering by the bed, observing the other in slumber. The twin beckoned the daughter, leading her to a realm where a colossal, shadowy figure began to skin the girl alive, while her mother's counterpart remained silently by. The principles of quantum mechanics allow for the presence of alternate realities and parallel worlds where various iterations of us may exist simultaneously. Such phenomena might shed light on terrifying encounters where a flaw in the fabric of reality permits two universes to intersect momentarily. This could account for the lethal nature of certain interactions as they disrupt the fundamental order of existence. Much like opposing magnetic forces that push away from each other, a doppelganger may be driven to eliminate its counterpart. Science may struggle to elucidate the terrifying images of your other mother observing serenely as you endure such a horrific fate. Jim Tucker and his dedicated team at Virginia State University persist in their exploration, revealing ever more intriguing and disquieting accounts of reincarnation in its various forms. They are on the lookout for one specific case. On February 8, 2007, Ian Stevenson, the founder of the department and a trailblazer in serious research on the subject, passed away due to illness. He left behind a combination lock in a filing cabinet, assuring his colleagues he would attempt to convey the code to unlock it after his passing. To date, no young individual has emerged with peculiar recollections of a previous life as a college professor, which would enable the lock to be opened. But who can say? That child may arrive at any moment. Reincarnation has always mystified me, and I'm sure I'm not alone. Do you have any recollections from a past existence? Why don't you let us know in the comments below? Well, that's it for now. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and let us know in the comments what you think. Check out our other videos and subscribe to be part of the fun. Click on the notification icon so you can see our new videos as soon as they're uploaded. Thanks for watching and see you next time.